I have updated information about the pending litigation against Forrest Fenn and the unnamed finder of the treasure box, including a copy of the actual lawsuit. We're going to go over everything right now. Good morning, all you YouTube treasure hunters. My name is Tony and this is 5280 Adventures. If this is your first time visiting on the channel and you want to continue watching metal detecting and treasure hunting videos, I would urge you to hit that subscribe button for me and then make sure that you hit the bell for notifications so you can be alerted every time that a brand new video comes out, and that way you don't miss anything. In my last video, I told you about Miss Barbara Anderson. Ms. Anderson has filed a lawsuit against Forrest Fenn and the unnamed treasure finder, and if you haven't watched that video, click on that link right there, get caught up, and then come back and watch the rest of this video because I have new information on this video that I'm going to tell you that wasn't on that first one. All of the information that I'm going to give you in this video is public knowledge and has been obtained legally by going through the court system in New Mexico. The purpose of this video is strictly just to give you that information. I won't be giving you my opinion. What I would urge you to do is actually watch the entire video and formulate your own opinion about the situation. With all that being said, let me bring you up to speed. Miss Barbara Anderson filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court of New Mexico against the unnamed finder of the treasure box as well as Forrest Fenn for an injunction and monetary relief. This is what Miss Barbara Anderson said about the treasure finder.
If that truly is a person and not just a hoax, and the chest is truly found, you know, I would want to find this person and say, how did you get to this very strange location in the middle of nowhere? And you know, because you have to get there through solving the puzzle.
When I learned of this, I was a little interested about what Miss Anderson had filed and what she had said about the finder, why she was suing them. So I was able to obtain an actual copy of the lawsuit that was filed in that district court. And what I wanted to do is just relay that information to you and also present some interesting points of the lawsuit so we can all know exactly what's going on. Now, while I am speaking about this lawsuit, I will be using terms like alleged and claims because none of the information has been confirmed. This is just one person's account of the situation, and this is what Miss Anderson claims or alleges to have happened, and this is what she has filed in the district court. So I'll be using those terms, and we needed to define those just so you understood exactly what those were meaning in my context of what I'm telling you. Now the really cool thing is I will be linking a copy of this lawsuit in the description down below. So what I ask you to do is at the conclusion of the video to go ahead and click on that, make sure that you read it entirely, and then draw your own conclusion as to exactly what's going on with Miss Anderson as well as Forrest Fenn and the unnamed finder. Alright, let's jump into the actual lawsuit itself. The background facts are as follows. Miss Anderson claims that she had solved the clues to the puzzle and she was in the general proximity of the treasure. While in that general location, she claims that she found physical markings that verified that she was at the final resting place of that treasure. She also says that for the next 2 years, she deciphered the balance of the poem, narrowing down the physical location of the treasure. But during that time, she incurred substantial monies and time while physically looking for that treasure, and that's the reason why she's bringing this lawsuit forth against the two of them. Miss Anderson went on to claim that, quote, over the years, Forrest Fenn had quietly acknowledged Anderson as the solver of the poem through some references that he's made. The examples of those claims are in section 8 of the lawsuit, which is actually on page 2. So go ahead and double check that just to see exactly the more details that she's talking about. Miss Anderson claims that Forrest Fenn likely has hundreds of emails from her, including photographs to almost all of the 9 clues, including finding the relative general location of the treasure. And conversely, she alleges the unknown defendant came out of left field with his solve that he stole from her and has sparse substantive communications with Mr. Forrest Fenn. And to my knowledge, no information about this unnamed finder has been released other than Mr. Fenn saying that it was a he and that he was from back east, as well as that he doesn't want any personal information communicated out yet at this time. That may change in the future, but that is the only thing that we know about the unnamed finder thus far. And with that being said, I'm not quite sure how Miss Anderson knows exactly how much communication that the unnamed finder has had with Mr. Fenn if the unnamed finder hasn't been named yet. Those are some conclusions that are being drawn on her part, but they have been included in the lawsuit, and I wanted to make sure that we made a point of that when I was talking about exactly what's been filed. Miss Anderson claims that prior to her most recent search of the treasure, which, by the way, she was searching for the treasure in New Mexico when Forrest Fenn disclosed that the treasure had been found. During that time, she received prank text messages from the unknown defendant. I will say that again. She received text messages from the unnamed defendant. We don't know who this defendant is. We don't know the unnamed finder of the treasure, but she's claiming that she specifically received very specific text messages and emails from that person. So what the cool thing is, though, is Miss Anderson did attach a copy of those text messages to the lawsuit when she filed it in the District Court of New Mexico. So after the conclusion of the video and you guys are looking at it, make sure that you do go and actually read every single text message that was exchanged from the unnamed defendant, not the unnamed finder, because we haven't confirmed that yet. The text messages that were exchanged between the unnamed defendant to Miss Anderson. So in addition to just figuring out the poem, Miss Anderson states that the actual treasure is not located near the final clue. She claimed that she figured it out a second puzzle in October of 2019. This inclusion in the lawsuit is intended to show that she has done extensive work to complete the entire treasure hunt, and anyone else that finds it should not be entitled to it because she's done more work than everybody else has on it. So Miss Anderson also claims that Forrest Fenn is in possession of physical video evidence that shows Miss Anderson out multiple times searching for the actual location of the treasure. It is also Miss Anderson's belief that Forrest Fenn is in possession of physical video evidence that shows that the unnamed finder and the unnamed defendant hasn't been out there looking for this treasure very long or very often. So she's claiming that Forrest Fenn essentially is big brother when it comes to everybody that's searching for the treasure in the states of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. And I just found that quite interesting. Completely based on that physical evidence alone, she believes that she is the rightful owner of the treasure box, and the unnamed defendant, who is the unnamed finder, has no legal justification for owning or possessing that treasure box. Additionally, she believes that because she has all of the solves and the unknown defendant has what she believes is limited understanding of the solve, that completely proves that the defendant hacked her computer or emails and was physically stalking Anderson once she arrived in New Mexico for her most recent searches for the treasure. Okay, so now for the actual complaint for injunction against Mr. Forrest Fenn and the unnamed defendant. Ms. Anderson alleges the unknown defendant violated the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, which is 18 U.S. Code 1030, that her computer and her communications with Forrest Fenn fall under the definition of a protected computer. Ms. Anderson alleges that the unnamed defendant through illegal and unethical means found the treasure, and based on that should not have any title or right to the actual treasure itself. So this just goes on and on, essentially saying that she has a right to it and nobody else should have a right to it. So what Ms. Anderson is actually asking the court to make judgment on against the unnamed defendant is the following. She wants the court to prohibit him from selling or auctioning the treasure off at all. She wants to order the treasure be turned over to her specifically because, after all, she is the rightful owner of it. She wants monetary damages for any of the assets that were removed from the treasure chest from the time that it was found until the time that it was actually turned over to her. If anything's been removed, she wants the monetary value to be given to her if it's been sold. She's also asking to provide her with any and all costs associated with the litigation itself. and then any other relief by the court deemed just and equitable, including a referral for a criminal investigation of the unnamed defendant who hacked into her computer allegedly. So additionally, Ms. Anderson wants further injunctive relief against Forrest Fenn himself, so as to preclude him from assisting the unknown defendant in securing the right and title to the chest, or assisting him to sell or auction the same, and most importantly, facilitate the transfer of the chest to Anderson, and also, quote, make her the sole solver of the poem and puzzle. That's exactly, in quotes, what is in the litigation. She wants it written down and ordered that she be identified as the sole solver of the puzzle and poem. And then, of course, it's signed at the bottom of the document by Miss Barbara Anderson, plaintiff and attorney, June 7th in the year of our Lord 2020. So it has been interesting to see exactly what her allegations are, why she's justifying it, and exactly what she wants done based on this lawsuit against Fenn and the unnamed finder. The entire lawsuit itself is actually 39 pages long, 31 of them being the text messages that she included as evidentiary value to the lawsuit itself. So I do want you to go back and read the entire lawsuit, draw your own conclusions. Make sure that you don't miss those text messages that are included at the end of the document. I'm really interested to see where this goes. It's been about 3 weeks since the lawsuit was filed by Miss Anderson, and to my knowledge, I haven't heard anything in response from Forrest Fenn about the lawsuit. It sounds like they're just going to let the court system figure this out and ride it out. I'd be interested to see if it's get thrown out, or it actually goes to a trial for all of his injunctive relief that Miss Anderson's asking for. I have chosen a couple videos for you here. In fact, click on this one at the top here. I really think that you are going to really like that one. I want you to stay tuned to the channel for any updated information about this treasure hunt lawsuit. I do truly appreciate all of the support that you guys have given me, and as always, I will see you on the next treasure hunting adventure. Take care.